Ninguém começa lendo a palavra, porque antes da palavra o que a gente tem para ler à disposição da gente é o mundo. E a gente lê o mundo na medida em que a gente o compreende e o interpreta. E foi isso que os homens e as mulheres fizeram. Milênios depois de ler o mundo é que os homens inventaram a linguagem, e milênios depois, ou séculos depois, é que inventaram a escrita.
Well said, Mr. Freire. This is the M.E.N.C. Teacher's Shelf.
You say you want a revolution. Well, you know, we all want to change the world. You tell me that it's evolution. Well, you know, we all want to change the world.
Fellow musicians, students, and teachers, lend me your ears and thoughts. I'm Matt Barbosa, and welcome to the M.E.N.C's Teacher's Shelf, where we put literacy back into your world by discussing a variety of books and resources on music and music education. Tonight, I am proud to host the first special episode of the Teacher's Shelf, an all-exclusive glimpse into the writings of critical pedagogy's founding father, Paulo Freire. For those unfamiliar with the critical pedagogical thought, CP is a postmodern teaching model that strives for transformative critical thinking by basing teaching out of the reality of the student, incorporating reciprocal teaching that is differentiated to all applicable learning styles, co-constructivist dialogue, and the connections between content, context, and culture. Paulo Freire, long considered the father of critical pedagogy, was a Brazilian philosopher and educator who became one of the leaders of liberation pedagogy. Freire was actually arrested in Brazil in 1964 for treason for teaching sugarcane workers how to read and ergo giving them the right to vote. In his most recognized work, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, Freire lays a groundwork for the philosophy that later became critical pedagogy. Pedagogy of the Oppressed was one of Freire's first major writings concerning the socio-political realm of education. Originally written in Brazilian Portuguese, the book has been translated into several different languages and has sold more than 750,000 copies. Ironically, the book was not published in its home country, Brazil, until 1974, 6 years after its first publication. Pedagogy of the Oppressed sets the foundation for the remainder of Freire's writing as well as for the evolution of the critical pedagogy model. In Pedagogy of the Oppressed, Freire justifies the need for a pedagogy of the oppressed, the consequences and immorality of the traditional banking method of education, the undeniable connection between education and cultural synthesis, and the paramount importance of dialogue in learning and awakening critical thinking. The 30th anniversary edition of the book also includes introductions and forewords by Freireans Donaldo Macedo and Richard Scholl, which provide keen insight and clarifications on some of Freire's more higher-end theories. After taking several classes and reading plenty of secondary source material on Freire's theories and its applications, reading Pedagogy of the Oppressed for the first time was certainly eye-opening. The book is an absolute powder keg of ideas in a very condensed context that truly demonstrates Freire's practice of authentic words, or words that can cause transformation. I was not even halfway through Donaldo Macedo's introduction before I was launched into critical reflection on my past learning experiences as well as my own teaching methods. Have I been taught in a true Freirean model or a pseudo conglomeration? Did I truly understand all of any of this? And if I did, have I actually been able to practice any of it in the classroom? These reflections were based off of a quick, shallow walk in Freire's ideas, and I certainly will be rereading, rethinking, and recontextualizing the material from Pedagogy of the Oppressed again and again. I encourage all of you, particularly my fellow students who have yet to read any of Freire's primary source material, to pick up a copy and slowly diverge yourself into a chapter or two. In literacy, reading Word and World, Freire takes on the political side of education directly, focusing on literacy as a path to liberation. Interestingly, Freire claims that reading both Word and World are preceded by writing, that we create our reality, or our world, before we have the ability to read it. This writing of our individual realities calls for the creation of a collective world within the classroom, not to mention a larger scale world within culture and society, in order to truly begin to learn and understand. As one of Freire's later books, literacy, reading Word and World, can be easily connected to the learning theories of Piaget, Lev Vygotsky, and John Dewey, as well as more contemporary philosophies of Bernice McCarthy and connectivist Siemens and Downs. Well, that's about all we have time for this month's episode. Remember, copies of this month's books will be available shortly in the Talbot Library. And don't forget to check the M.E.N.C Teacher Shelf channel page for relevant links from all of our episodes. Make sure to tune in next time for a much-needed Educator's Vacation Spring Break Extravaganza. And from all of us here at the M.E.N.C Teacher Shelf, thank you for honoring our world.